Welcome to Thailand Chitchat. Today we're going to be talking about electric versus fuel economy. And I have two guests. I've got John Jaspers, the Managing Director of Fueltreat Thailand, and Paul Clare, the Technical Director of Fueltreat Australia. Fueltreat has operated in Thailand and the region since 2005, and it was established in Australia in 1987. Fueltreat provides petrol and diesel additives designed to provide fuel economy and maintain your engine and reduce pollutants. And they also provide a range of high-performance filters. They also sponsor Innovation Motorsport, a Thailand-based race team, where they consult and innovate to gain the best performance in sprint, rally, and endurance races. Okay, so we're going to be discussing, as I said, about electric against fuel economy. So one of the first questions is, do you feel there's a threat to your business with growing demand for electric vehicles? And since you're the technical director, you can start with that one.
I can start with that one. I don't think there is a real threat, and that's because electric vehicles are a fantastic idea, but their time is not quite yet. We're going to be seeing the economy driven by diesel and petrol vehicles still for a long time, and they are the cleaner way to go if they're maintained properly. So at this stage, not an immediate threat, no.
What about the argument against fuel being the pollutant?
At the moment, electric vehicles are the bigger pollutants. The power source that you charge them from is not a clean power source. This takes it down the whole renewables argument for power. And that's a discussion that needs to be had, and that's a way that we have to go before electric will be a cleaner alternative. What we have to do at the moment is we have to make the petrol and the diesel vehicles on the road as clean as possible. Part of that is the emission standards and the engineering, and part of that is treating the fuel so that it works cleanly and efficiently all the time.
And also we have to clean up current engines that they're actually clogged up with PM 2.5, or the carbon that gets into the engine. That's the thing that causes a lot of the black smoke you see in vehicles on the streets. Our product's designed to remove that and to get the engine back to basically where it was designed to be as a brand new engine.
So how does it actually remove it?
Technical guy here.
Okay, I mean, if you look at the black smoke coming out of a diesel engine, everyone will know straight away instinctively that means they're not burning all that fuel efficiently in the engine. They're not getting power out of it. They're just turning fuel into smoke.
So it's a symptom of
It's a symptom of inefficient running, of the engine not burning properly. A lot of it's down to maintenance and older engines. But even with a brand new vehicle and you're running it as efficiently as you can, you're pushing it at times into areas where the normal engineering just won't give you that fuel combustion efficiency up where you need it. But you can modify. You can treat those engines so that they burn more of the fuel to get the energy. And one of the things that you see is you get better fuel economy. Whenever you get better fuel economy driving at a particular speed, it means you're burning the fuel more efficiently, which means there's less emissions. And so, the trick is we can extend petrol and diesel engines further into the future if we make sure that they're burning efficiently and using less fuel. We can cut down the amount of PM 2.5. And so diesel is, treated properly, one of the most efficient and clean engines you can have.
What about the petrol point of view? Same principle?
Petrol, again, very similar. You don't get the particulate problems with petrol or gasoline that you do with diesel, but you still get other emissions. You get nitrogen emissions. You get the smog-forming emissions. And again, it's the same philosophy. If you get them to burn less fuel, you put out less emissions. Less emissions, it's a cleaner environment.
Yeah, and one of the things about our chemistry also is that one product treats diesel and petrol, so you don't need different products for different fuels. One product treats all the biofuels up to B100, which is basically running completely organic fuel, and it runs petrol, diesel just the same.
Okay, so You're the chemist.
Mm.
Are you the one that invented this in 1987 and created all these new variants?
Basically, yes. But it's not just...
You're so humble.
Well, I don't want to let out any secrets, but it isn't, and it isn't just a one point in time. Like changes in fuels, like changes in engineering, these products are a constant evolution. Mm-hmm. And we've gone through approval process with motor companies several times over a long span of years as we modify and update, and we keep our additives relevant so they are as good as they can be. And so, we've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience from working with fuels, working with not only the motor companies, but the fuel companies themselves. We know that you can increase efficiency. You can improve servicing on vehicles so that they maintain efficiency. And that's what we're looking. Electric is a fantastic thing, and we need to be there sometime in the future. But we can't just stop the fuels we're using because they are the cleaner option right now. So we're trying to make them as clean as possible.
I think to put it in simple terms, if you're burning coal to make electricity,
I was going to say,
diesel is a much cleaner option than burning coal.
But even that creating that electricity, you have to store that electricity. Yeah. So for vehicles, it's the batteries.
Mm.
So some people are looking at having both electric and also fuel in their cars, hybrids. Yeah?
Yes.
But they still have to have the batteries. So sometimes I wonder, is this like the corporate like drug situation? You create the situation, you create the drug, which people don't really need, or they're forced to take somewhere where they could take a herbal, whatever, it's something like that, where the industry is driving the value of electric vehicles as opposed to the reality, and using this precept of it's saving the environment when actually it's not.
I think there's a few things there. One is there's the industry driving it. There's also, and they know it's coming, so they're just testing the waters, I think, partly.
So it's part of the development, yeah.
Yes, but there's also the politics of it where it's good to be green. So they're saying, oh, we've got our green option, et cetera, et cetera. So, it is good to be green, but as I said before, if you're burning coal to put it into an electric vehicle, it's not the best option out there. And most countries in the world basically rely on non-renewables for electricity generation. So it isn't the best option yet. It's moving the pollution basically from the city a little bit, so that's a positive, but you're still burning the coal somewhere else.
Right, and of course generators themselves, when you're generating the electricity, need to have the electricity to generate it, so they were using diesel for diesel generators to develop this, yeah? Okay. How do you feel that with regards to diesel, etc., in many cities, like London, for example, they're saying diesel, or even Glasgow, diesel vehicles of a certain age, that's where they're qualified, I suppose, cannot go into the city or they will be fined.
Agree.
So you support all these arguments?
I support strategies on crowded cities, but it's not strictly the fault of those vehicles. The fault is that things like rail and alternative transport systems can't carry the load that you need. So vehicles have to go into the cities. If they restrict it to newer vehicles, fine. But I think they should also be looking at, if it's an older vehicle over a certain standard, you can get that emissions tested.
Yes, like Thailand.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit of an overview. The reason I actually know Fueltreat was John gave me one of his products, Surefire, and because my Everest was blowing smoke and I had problems starting it. So he gave me this, I ran it for a while, and after that the car was performing better. There was no smoke coming out. Basically it was like having a new engine. That was just one bottle, just to explain to everyone. So that's how I got to know Fueltreat. Okay, so with regard to with this change, have you seen this affecting your business, where sales have gone down or going up, or new markets are opening up, but people are beginning to realize that if there's black smoke coming out of your truck, your vehicle, or whatever it is, you're going to get fined, and people are getting stricter, so they're having more attention. So have you found this environmental sort of pressure has actually benefited you, or?
We've seen no change in sales of the product. I think you've seen growth in Australia.
We've seen growth, yeah.
I think there's a part of that people are now wanting their vehicles to run cleaner, run more. Well, certainly the OEMs, the motor companies are more and more taking the product on because they see the limitations in the fuels and actually the benefits of having the product and putting in their service schedule so that every vehicle is treated regardless. And that gets the car back to what it was designed to be.
So you've got basically primary products like Purge, which is to do with when you're doing an engine
oil change.
Yeah. It takes all the sludge, etc., which wouldn't normally be removed.
Yeah.
And then also you've got Surefire,
correct,
which is for adding to the fuel.
Yeah,
so basically it burns off everything, so it gets all the crap out.
Yep.
And then you have a product BC250.
Correct.
What's the difference?
BC250 is actually a pretty good cleaner in its own right, but its main function is to be a biocide. So not many people know that bugs that are in the air with every bit of oxygen that you have in the atmosphere has little microbes, which are yeasts and fungi, and they get into the fuel through condensation in the tanks when they cool down. For example, if there's any water in the tank and in the interface between the water and the fuel, that's where these microbes grow. And they can actually grow very, very fast and block fuel filters and cause engines to not start, or they can cause some of the black smoke we see. So the biocide basically wipes those things out, sterilizes the fuel, gets it back to being clean.
So if somebody's doing basically an oil change, etc., they will use something like Purge, which basically takes all the gunge, which if they didn't use, there would still be a whole lot of gunge left in the engine.
I think just the point on that, it goes a little bit further because we found that a lot, when you simply open the sump, you drain the oil out to put the new oil in, not everything drains properly.
Yeah.
You want to take that out. But when you've got that soft sooty stuff that's still in the engine, it's not only just on the outside in the sump, it's also in all the galleries, all the oil passages that are feeding the critical components. And in fact, what a lot of people don't realize is everyone knows about variable valve timing and all the new whiz-bang letters on the back of cars. That relies on the oil being super clean. So if you use the Purge, you clean up those galleries so that your timing works better. The engine's quieter because the lifters follow better. They've got better pressure. The tensioning for all the chains and the drive belts, works better. And the
ECU is the control unit that runs the engine isn't compensating for those block galleries. So you've got much smoother engine.
Right.
And that improves efficiency. So again, using that to treat the oil and using Surefire or BC in some instances in the fuel is a two-prong attack to keep the efficiency, cut down on the emissions. Benefit for drivers is feels a lot better to drive the car, and it saves you money because you're using less fuel.
Yeah, and also if you go to some of the servicing stations, they have different products, but maybe they don't offer like the Purge. So what I was hearing is, or you're mentioning before, is that some people actually take the product with them to the site to make sure they're getting the quality product and the correct product, and they give that to the service station and say, put that in. Yeah.
There are a number of different outlets, of course, selling a lot of different product that is supposed to work. Our product works really, really fast. One bottle, you'll see the difference. A lot of the other products out there, they tend to take 2 or 3 bottles if they work at all. Some of them, with the chemical makeup of them, can actually cause problems with combustion chamber deposits. Basically, it's carbon buildup in the combustion chamber. So you have to be very careful what you put in your engine. Not everything is made the same.
So only use your product, that's what you're really saying.
Yeah, well, that's a very subtle way of saying it, Andrew, but yeah, I would say I agree
give
with
it
that.
a try and then see what you think, because everyone that we've given products to, especially people with slightly older engines, have been quite surprised at the rapid
that's how I got into it. Yeah.
Exactly. But you're not the only one. There's lots of
I was a true skeptic. A true skeptic.
Good.
I thought it was all smokes and mirrors before, but then it did actually work. Hence you're here.
Most people say the same thing. even the race engineers at Innovation Motorsport said, well, we don't think this is going to work. And when they tried it, they said, oh, okay, we got it. It works.
So why did you get involved with Innovation Motorsport?
Well, we're petrol heads to start, right?
Right.
But what I wanted to do from a Thailand perspective is one, get our brand out there, because we supply to so many companies under their brand, nobody really knows who Fueltreat is. So motorsport is one of the ones that gets quite a bit of coverage, and so we just wanted to use that as a vehicle to get our brand out there as a starting point.
Yeah.
But you also consult with them, don't you?
Yes, correct. Yeah,
Right, so you're part of the team.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, is there anything that regarding your product against other products? One thing I could say, this is part of the reason you're here, makes you different from the other competitive products out there.
We had a slightly different approach because our background is with the fuel companies, the oil companies. So we were involved in producing oil right from the well through the refinery and out. And we started, and again, also because of a passion with cars, we started to deal with the motor companies. And we thought, well, we could build a better product and we can do it from basic principles. So we started with, all right, what's the problem with when you're burning fuel? What do we want to eliminate? What do we want to control? How do we want to make things work better? And so we designed a product to a specification. It wasn't a marketing gimmick. It wasn't, here's something we're using as an additive in the fuel at the pump, so we'll put more of it in a bottle, and that will be the additive. And as John hinted before, not always the best way to go, because you can create another issue. So we worked very, very carefully on building from that specification a blueprint of how it must perform, through the testing to the development, and at the same time we also made it as safe, not just environmentally, but as safe as we can for anyone who uses it. And it's reflected in the fact that we don't have quite as many danger signs on our labeling as some of the competitive products do.
Yeah, nearly all of our competitors have their product is listed as a dangerous good.
Yeah.
Ours is not. So you can fly ours, you can store it, and you can ship it just as safely as a normal product. Most of the other products are DG, dangerous goods.
Right. So your product is used, obviously in vehicles, from cars, trucks, motorcycles. It's also used in generators.
Yes.
Boats.
Ships
is a big one, especially BC250.
BC250 is perfect for marine.
Yeah. Anything else? Somebody's watching and go, I got one of that.
Anything with fuel. We don't currently have anything for airline,
right?
Because that needs testing. We could make something, but we don't have to go through the testing process, etc. But basically anything that doesn't fly, that has fuel in it.
You also have testing kits as well.
We do have testing kits available. Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, you're doing a very good job, obviously, saving the environment. So if you think back to the original question, electricity versus fuel, when do you predict that electric, because obviously that's being developed as well, will take over from fuel? Yeah.
When will it take over?
In our lifetime?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah, because we're going to be around for quite a long time, So, but seriously, I think the main issue, well, there are two main issues. One, the battery technology, and there are other types of battery rather than a lithium-ion battery. When that development comes to fruition, and that's going to be in the next 10, 15 years, then it will be environmentally much better to run electric vehicles. When our power generation is more heavily relying on renewables, I think you'll see electric coming into its own, and it should. But at the moment, we've got to make diesel and petrol run as well as it possibly can, because it's going to drive the economy for a long time.
So this is going to affect, you think it's going to affect your business within the next 10 years?
No, not 10 years.
No, I think there is enough scope. I don't think we'll see a reduction in those fuels to the point where it'll see an impact on our growth. I think our growth will continue to rise.
And with the advent of these synthetic fuels that everybody's now talking about, like in Formula One, they're starting to go down that road. we see that there's probably going to be a need for an additive, maybe not surefire or anything like that, but an additive that would be used in fully synthetic fuels.
So the advantage of basically you, Paul, is that you are continually developing something, and you're also an owner, so you get the vested interest rather than just an employee.
Yeah. I want to stay employed, so I'm going to keep developing.
We're a fair-sized company already, so that's good to see your feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you.
I find that very interesting. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you've got any questions, please let me know. If you want to know more about Fueltreat, have a look at fueltreat.co.th. They've also got an online shop, so if you want to order product, you can do so there. Coming up, we'll have some more interviews, so please stay tuned. Share, like, comment, let us know what you'd like to hear, and we'll speak to you later. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.